Hey guys, welcome to the show. We're going to get to your weekend review with Ashley Mann, who's back on the show. Yes, long lost Ashley is back on the show, so really glad to have her here. We catch up on a lot of different stuff, and all the good and bad, including, the karaoke segment on SmackDown. You can imagine what our thoughts are on that. Lashley being taken down a couple of pegs. Where does Drew McIntyre go after Dolph Ziggler? We break that down. Our thoughts on the bar fight between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. And Bayley and Sasha Banks absolutely killing it in the women's division. So we talk about all that and, a ton more. We're going to get everything going right after this.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, the most passionate and authentic wrestling analysis on the web. We've got you covered with every Raw, SmackDown, and NXT show, giving you a no bullshit opinion. We know you love wrestling. We do too. So let's get this show underway.
And that's the bottom line. What? 'Cause Stone Cold said so.
Hey guys, welcome to the WWE Podcast for this Sunday, July 12th, 2020. Hope everyone is doing well as we crawl into the middle of July here, into the dead of summer, right? We are in the dead of summer, in the middle of a pandemic, right? I mean, but we're getting through it, and it's better than it was in March, because that was a time that was, I feel like that was years ago, doesn't it? Feels like it was years ago that happened. But here we are as we roll through summer, and the major sports in the United States are starting to open up. Yeah, there'll be no crowds, which is like taking the soul out of the sport. But MLB is starting up in about 10 days. The NBA looks like to be starting at the end of the month. And maybe pro wrestling has fans by the end of September. And that's what AEW apparently is looking to do in the near future. So things are looking up. Even if there's no fans, at least we have our sports somewhat back. And let's hope that the virus stays in check so that it doesn't re-shut down our entire world. But let's talk about wrestling, because we got a lot to get to today. But with Ashley Mann, who's back on the show to discuss everything that's been going on in WWE, between the Eye for an Eye match and Drew McIntyre as champion, when his reign could end, and it may be sooner than you think. So we covered, as always, everything in a long format for you. I know many of you love the long form audio, and we have it for you today with Ashley back on the show, one of our most original co-hosts, if not the original co-host to the show. So welcome back, Ashley. Great to have her on, and you guys can catch the show on Instagram at WWE_podcast. We're down to Instagram. Why? Because Facebook has taken down our podcast, or our page. Apparently somebody reported our page that it was using trademarks or something. And to be fair, I believe my page did have a lingering WWE logo on it, not by design. I just didn't get around to changing it. So that's probably what was the reason for taking down the page. So I'll be creating a new page and making sure that everything is right in the world. And, it sucks because I spent a bunch of money in advertising dollars, and that goes out the window. But nonetheless, social media is not my friend lately. With Twitter gone, Facebook now gone, Instagram is like the last of my social media talons, if you will. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well, and we're going to get to the conversation with Ashley in just a minute. But first, I want to address the questions that came in, and the audio questions that came in. So let's do that. I'll first do the non-audio question. And let's see. This comes from Sharon, who asks, hello, Matt. How are you? I'm good. In Extreme Rules, the horror show, there are going to be 3 cinematic matches: the bar fight, an eye for an eye, and a swamp match. Because you try to promote Instagram and Facebook, I thought you maybe should do a short video analysis on the cinematic aspect of these matches, and you can put it in your different websites. I'm a filmmaker, and those matches are more like movies, so maybe it will be interesting to analyze them from a cinema point of view. So he also says, I know you're a little bit against those kinds of matches, but maybe a different perspective make you and others understand their value. So yes, so here's the thing. I have I have put up the white flag and surrendered to just accepting them for what they are. Cinematic views of professional wrestling, right? And until we get back in front of a live audience, this is going to be our world of pay-per-views, where there's not just one, there are now multiple cinematic presentations of matches. So without destroying them, I'm going to try to look through the lens of a movie, because that's what they're now presented to be. So I'm taking off my traditional pro wrestling glasses, and I'm going to put on the glasses of I'm watching a movie. What makes sense here? What doesn't? So how about that? I will do that, and I haven't done a whole lot of video, and it's due to a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't have a great setup where I am. I want to make sure that the background isn't like, kids' toys and stuff. And number two, my computer is not great with editing video, but I'm working on upgrading my laptop. When Apple releases their MacBook Pros in the fall, I'm going to go I'm going to go pretty big upgrade. Like, I've got an HP that's worth about $600 to a MacBook Pro in the fall. So I'll be doing eventually a big upgrade, which is going to help in video production and everything else. But so yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe I will do that. The second question comes to us from Brad, and let's take a listen to see what he has to say.
Hey Matt, what's going on? It's Brad from Pennsylvania. I just got a quick one for you today to go off of the fact that you seem real thrilled about the eye for an eye match. And you said, how are they actually going to do that? Well, unfortunately, Matt, I think you forgot one thing. We're in the cinematic area for WWE. So, I could actually see someone's eye cinematically getting ripped from their head. Even though it's PG, it'll be on a pay-per-view, so I could see them doing it. This might be Rey Mysterio's write-off. I saw on the internet, right now he's actually fighting without a WWE contract, so this might be his ultimate send-off, or possibly if Seth needs some time away for the whole pregnancy, this might be a way to send him off for a little while. Maybe we'll just rip his eyeball out of his head and hope that the WWE fans or universe forgets that his head or his eyeball was literally ripped out of his head. So I have really bad expectations for this, being that we're in the cinematic era and we're going to have a match that can only end when someone's eye is removed from their head. So I could see a couple different ways for it going, with Rey not having a contract, and obviously Dominic is going to be coming soon, so maybe this is a way to usher out Rey and usher in Dominic, or send Seth off for a little vacation to prepare for Becky's pregnancy. I'm pretty sure she would still have a few months to go, so I don't see why he'd be leaving already, but you never know. I mean, he might just need time away, or however you do it. I just don't see it going well with the eye for an eye match. Have a good one. Take care.
Hey, Brad. So thanks for the question, and it's funny you mentioned that. I did address this at length with Ashley in the show, so without giving away everything I said, gist of it is, as I also said just previous to this this audio, is that I have waved the white flag in the cinematic era, right? I'm going to get professional wrestling in whatever way WWE decides to present it. And given the circumstances we're in, I know we're going to get a very cinematic version of this, of most of these matches, and whatever. I mean, it's not my cup of tea. You know that I'll basically rant until I'm blue in the face about how this is really a slap in the face to pro wrestling, and it's just not my flavor, right? But with that said, the presentation of it, or the execution of it, I talked with Ashley about it, and I think it can't be truly to gouge your opponent's eye out. If it's an eye for an eye, then I would assume that what Seth did to Rey, they're going to want to do to Seth. So if that's an eye for an eye, given you do to me what I'm going to do to you, then that would be the equivalent. So maybe Seth is the one who gets his eye jammed into the corner of the steps. That way, you don't have to try to tell the story of Seth having magical powers, of being able to regrow an eyeball, or the fact that it's a PG environment. How are you going to possibly show that in a PG environment of somebody ripping somebody else's eye out? I mean, they didn't even do that in TV-14, so I don't think they're going to do that here. I think it's going to be simple. It's going to be what Edge did to Orton, that Orton did to Edge before WrestleMania. concerto for concerto. Here, it's going to be equivalent of Seth doing, getting what he deserves from Rey. But does it actually happen to Seth is the question. Because like I said, I think Rey Mysterio is on his way out. He doesn't even currently have a contract with WWE. But I think that's what it could be. Rey could have his other eye gouged out or whatever, jammed to the steps. This could be a very interesting finish. I honestly don't know the finish to this. To me, an eye for an eye should be a promo, not an actual stipulation, because you can't follow through with it. But with the cinematic a piece of it still there, again, how do they could execute it somehow, and I think that's how they'll execute it is maybe Seth gets he's got coming to him, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe they just decide that Rey Mysterio's on his way out, and Seth has a lot more time here. Let's give Seth the victory again. And that's how I would do it anyway. But yeah, Dominic, I'm sure, is going to get involved. In what capacity, we don't know. But could be a send-off for Rey, for sure. We'll have to wait and see. Apparently they have something big planned for the horror show Extreme Rules. So anyway, Brad, thanks for the question. If you want to get your question on the show, realwwepodcast@gmail.com. Send in the audio just the way they did. Create a voice memo on your phone and just send it via email. That's how I get these and put them in the show. So, all right, let's get to the conversation with Ashley as we cover everything in This Week in WWE. As always, I'll be back on Tuesday for your Raw review. Wednesday will be your Nostalgia. Thursday is NXT and AEW. And then on Friday or Saturday is your HSP SmackDown review. Big shout out to Brian and Greg over there who have been helping us cover AEW. As our typical co-host stepped aside for AEW. They have filled in and done a great job. So check out the High Spot podcast. So shout out to them. They're very, very good. You can check them out on our feed. It's the HSP SmackDown, High Spot podcast, SmackDown review. And now they are covering AEW for us. So they also have their own show, as I mentioned. It's called the High Spot podcast. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. Here's Ashley and myself. As always, I'll talk to you soon. All right, everybody, at long last, we have Ashley Mann back with us to discuss things that happened this week in WWE, including a karaoke segment that I think you guys have an idea of my thoughts on, a bar fight that was announced between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, the brilliance that's going on between Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, at least in my estimation, Big Show trying to hunt down Randy Orton, and so much more, including Kevin Owens back with his KO show. So, Ashley, welcome back to the show. Hope everything's going well.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt. I am super happy to be back. It feels like it's been forever, but yeah, I'm just ready to start talking wrestling again and just reconnect and just go over everything that's been going on this week. I feel like it hasn't been as crazy lately, which could be a good thing, but there's always a lot to talk about, especially after Fyter Fest and Great American Bash and everything finally concluded. So I'm curious and just looking forward to seeing what you think on some things.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Keith Lee, who has beaten Adam Cole and is now dual champion. And so that was, I honestly did not think that was going to happen. So yeah, we'll talk about that. A ton more stuff, obviously. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro getting a reinvigoration of their tag team, which I am really, really digging. So let's kind of jump in, as you said, like reconnect here. I mean, as we take ourselves out of our lives and put ourselves into this sandbox and start playing, it's fun because it is a escape from reality. So let's do this. I'll start off with something positive, at least I think. That's positive, at least in my estimation, is Sasha Banks and Bayley, who I think have been doing some of the best work, if not the best work, of their entire careers on the main roster and teaming up, and Bayley coming into her own character. I think you and I talked on that several weeks back, and getting victory after victory, albeit she lost this past week because of an interference or a distraction from Nikki Cross on the outside. And what do you think about Bayley and Sasha Banks? Do you like them gelling? Do you look forward to them breaking up, or are you actually hoping they stay together for a while? What's your whole take on it?
Yeah, no, I've always been a big Sasha and Bayley fan, especially together. And I feel like now they kind of are like the heartbeat of the women's division for all shows. Maybe not as much NXT, but maybe even so lately, just with not much really going on yet. I mean, we do have a number one contender now in play, but especially Raw and SmackDown being the main focus, I think Bayley and Sasha are needed on both shows. So I see them sticking together for at least a little while longer, and I would say at least throughout the remaining part of the summer, if not going into like the early fall. Unless we get like a Charlotte coming back, which I'm sure we will. I'm sure that'll probably be before anyone else. But with the absence of like Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler and just no real threat in the women's division or no real storyline or substance for them that they've at least been building up, they have to stick with Sasha and Bayley right now. And I think now we're kind of seeing a little more of like little hints from Sasha that she's picking up what Bayley's been doing, and obviously been starting to put Bayley in certain situations as well, in certain matches. But I think now we're starting to see a little bit more of Sasha, so I think it'll pick up steam, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Which I'm okay with, because like I said again, like what else are we really gonna do? And it gives Bayley's heel character more just substance to talk about each week. Because I think when they eventually do split up, they have to go Sasha as the babyface, because Bayley just needs, first of all, someone strong to play off of, and who better than your best friend. And to Bayley, with the type of character that she had as a babyface and that dramatic, and whether it was done perfectly or not is in your opinion, but I think with the major turn that Bayley as a character took, she has to ride this heel turn out for, I would say, at least another year and a half, at least.
Wow, that long. I mean, I'm fine with it. So, at
least for the Bayley's side.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we had questions. We were propositioning that Bayley turned heel for many, many, many months prior to her heel turn. She finally turns heel, and it just kind of went nowhere. And I was concerned that her career may not pan out well because of just it wasn't going well. And it ended up working very well, obviously. Fast forward many months later, it seemed like the switch just bam turned on for Bayley, and I don't know exactly when that was. I can't really pinpoint it. Maybe over the last 2 to 3 months, sometime during the pandemic.
Lacey Evans, really quick. I think like that. Maybe not for like maybe not the promo side, but I think just like the intensity. I think that was like a good like someone to actually like play off of for her, just as a little like stiffness, if you know what I mean, just to give her that like a little bit of edge. And that may have opened her up. And just the freedom, really being on SmackDown, just being able to, like, just not have to worry about the fans in a weird way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, very well could be. I know that all of us, I think we can say in unison, it's really tough without fans. And WWE has been going just crazy with all the things they can do, and their cinematic matches, and their backstage this and that, and all. And I get it. But I think the silver lining is, yes, you're able to just kind of do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do. You don't have the stress of the crowd there, so if they do something that maybe you're not expecting them to react to, or react in a way that is in opposite of what you were looking for, then you don't have that stress there. You can just kind of go and do what you need to do, figure out who you are without the crowd there, and then you'll be, I think, more confident and understand who your character is better, than worrying more about the crowd reaction, which is, it's weird to say that because that's what your promos are built around, that's what your character's built around. The whole thing, the whole production is built around crowd interaction and crowd reaction. But with Bayley, I think this has done a really good thing for her, and just being able to focus on her, not worry about the crowd, just figure out what she needs to do. And you're right. This whole long game, I actually was in the early stages of this hoping that this would be broken up sooner. But as they went on, I'm like, this is just getting better and better. They tease it from here now and then, and I'm like, oh no, don't do it yet. And they'll pull back, and then they won the tag team titles. And now they are just a absolute staple. They are the foundation of the shows. I mean, I do want to see them in all 3 shows if I can. And it's great to see that the chemistry is there. They are running on all cylinders. Bayley is certainly, I think, when she first started out on this team, felt like the sidekick to Sasha. Now, it's almost like Sasha is kind of the sidekick to Bayley. It's weird. Like, they've kind of leveled off in terms of their stardom. I mean, they have really become a tag team that I don't want to see them break up for a number of reasons, because they are pretty much the women's tag team division. I mean, there's not a whole lot of teams for them to tag against other than Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and maybe the Iconics that kind of pop in and out of reality. And so, yeah, I'm loving this. And if this goes until they get a crowd there, I want that, because this is a payoff you want a crowd reaction for. So however long that takes, I would say to WWE, if I was creative, hey, this is something that we've been building for many months, if not longer now. Let's pay this off whenever the heck we get back in front of fans. This is not something we want to pay off in front of, like, say, the 15, plant fans that are really NXT trainees, or the friends and family of NXT trainees. We want to do this in front of, say, 10,000 people. That's my thinking. How would you pay this off, and when?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and that's why I'm not in a rush to break them up. Of course, if things were more as they are, then absolutely, I probably would have broken them up like immediately right after WrestleMania, depending on, how things were. But I think right now, like you said, that's really the main thing that's going on. And my fear is, okay, let's say Friday, for instance, they break them up and they go maybe a month or two into a storyline and go back and forth. Maybe depending on how it goes, if Sasha were to beat Bayley for the title, then maybe Bayley will get her rematch. But then after that, I don't have faith that WWE will give us the proper payoff long term wise, that a story and a friendship and how devastating that turn will be, that it deserves. So that's kind of my fear too, is I don't really, I'm okay with it taking a while and dragging out until the setting is as best as it can be in these circumstances, because once it's done, it's done. You can't go back and redo it. It's one of those things where people are going to remember it just because of how well it's been rebuilt. And of course, things could have been a little bit different. They could have done things differently building up to this point, and maybe had Bayley a little bit stronger or what have you. But at the end of the day, once you pull the trigger, it's done. So I think it should be a little, I guess, comforting for us to see that since they haven't pulled the trigger yet, when they very well could have, when ratings have been dropping and they felt like they needed a quick fix, I feel like that could have been something to shock people, and they haven't. So I think that should be a good sign. So I think they're going to, and I think that is in the back of their mind too. They, at the end of the day, they know if we can't get fans in a building until, let's say, at least the beginning of next year, I think they'll probably pull the trigger maybe around Survivor Series time frame. It just depends, because we sit here and talk about how long it could be drawn out, and then 2 weeks from now they could start having fans in the arena, and then everything can change. So I think they're going to try to hold out as long as they can, but once it gets to a certain point, I feel like, they're going to have to, they're going to have to force their hand.
And it's strange with this whole pandemic. I have actually wanted WWE to not give me their best foot forward. I really have.
Yeah.
It's weird. I actually want them to kind of be subpar. It's weird to say, but and especially right around when WrestleMania happened, I said, I don't want this to be an overwhelmingly great WrestleMania. I kind of want this to be a ho-hum WrestleMania to get through what they want to get through, give us the results. Don't give us big returns. Don't give us big swerves or heel turns or babyface turns or returns or whatever. Just keep everything the way it should be. Take it down a couple of pegs. And I really want that philosophy going forward until there's fans back. I would think that they're thinking this too. For example, the very first Monday Night Raw that we had no fans there was 3/16 day. How sad was it to see Stone Cold in there with no fans? It was weird. It didn't work. It was, yes, Byron got a stunner, which made me very happy, but it was in front of no one. Yes.
And just the way they did that, too, really quick. They had a big opportunity there to, even though it was very, very fresh, and we didn't really know all the details, but they could have just been like, hey, even if you didn't want to use the word Corona or COVID or anything like that, they could have had the face of your company, probably one of the, if not the best talker and the best promo guy in their history, come out there and just level with the fans like no one else can, and just be real and just be like, hey, we're going through uncharted territory. We don't know what to expect, but hey, just whatever you want to say, and then that's your one statement. That's all you have to do, just to address it, just to make people feel like they understand and like they're kind of going through this with us, and then maybe not as many people would have fallen off. I'm sure they probably would have eventually over time, but because that wouldn't have saved all the storylines. But still, like even that, like you just had an opportunity there. If you're not gonna like embrace it and do what you can, then why even do it?
Yeah, that is weird. I never even thought about that. Like when this whole thing started, obviously we had so many questions. We were all just blindsided. All of a sudden our lives are turned upside down. We're home. We can't go anywhere. Everything's shut down. You got to wear a mask. We're all going to die. And there wasn't a single statement from WWE about this whole thing and what they're at least going to be doing going forward. Obviously, they have no clue what's going to happen in 3, 4, 5 months, but they could have just come out, like you said, with a babyface, or even Vince McMahon coming out on TV, or a pre-played or pre-taped segment saying, what the heck's going on, and we'll be doing this for the foreseeable future, like something from the company on air. Instead, they just like pretended it didn't happen, except the first episode, which was Triple H coming out and just acting wacky, and they didn't know what to do, and he was on commentary and all that. But there wasn't ever really like the words coronavirus were never mentioned, and they would say, well, we're supposed to be the escape from that. But the fans we're still thinking about it. So address it. Just get the elephant out of the room. Tell us what at least your plan is for the time being, and then we'll move forward. But instead, there was nothing from Vince, nothing from anybody, and it's weird. Yeah, there's an opportunity, and they just let it sit there. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I just feel like it's awkward because you don't talk about it, and it just gets more and more awkward. Like I guess now maybe things are getting a little bit easier, but I just feel like they lost out on a big opportunity to really like be a leader, you and, of course, AEW and a few other things were the only thing that was still going. So take advantage of that, and you can generate more buzz for your TV show. Like, just, I don't know. But yeah, it's just, that kind of leads us back to like the no fans things in Sasha and Bayley. But I don't know. I think that they could be doing and just like taking advantage of the situation maybe a little bit more. But at least with Bayley and Sasha going forward, I think that they just need to stay the course with this, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Like, don't move. And so just stay the course.
You don't need to yet.
Tease. I don't mind if they tease it here and there, and then they pull back, and there's, we don't see anything for weeks, and then all of a sudden, if Sasha is volunteering Bayley for something, and then Bayley volunteers Sasha for something, like they've been doing tit for tat, that's fine. Just to remind us of what's coming. But don't make any progress. If you're going to do it, just kind of be a hamster on a wheel. I mean, and I think it's working right now. If this was awful and it was just not working and their chemistry wasn't there, I would say, okay, let's move this along. But this, and WWE knows it because they're on every show, they are kicking ass. There's no other way to put it. And so, all right. So from something that is awesome to something that I don't get, and I'll just briefly touch on it because I want your take on it. Karaoke on SmackDown. I mean, we had Lacey Evans, we had Naomi, we had Tamina come out of her hibernation. We had who else was on there? We had, who is it? Lacey Evans and
Lacey. And Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke. Boy, is she awkward, isn't she? I mean, I can't. She is just a weird. She comes off very awkward on TV. I don't know what it is. She just has a very weird presence. But nonetheless, they have these 4 women come out there. And Jay Uso, or Jimmy, I think it was Jimmy Uso, out there, and he's playing host because, hey, why not? And he decides...
Which, where have they been, by the way? Like, where have the Usos been? Like, if he can come out and do that, like, why aren't they... The tag team division, like, desperately needs, like, teams. Like, where have they been? So, it's that's just a little frustrating.
And where are these 4 women competing in their division? Instead, they're going out there like it's a Friday night, and they're singing it up at their local bar and doing their best impressions. I guess I think their best impressions of the WWE themes. I don't know. I don't get it. Before I give you my take, like what did you think of this? Like, was there any purpose to this? Was it just pure entertainment? At least attempted entertainment? Like what the heck was this?
I don't know. Like I don't, I try to make excuses, or maybe not excuses, but I try to give them the benefit of the doubt for a lot of things. But this, I can't. Like, and it frustrates me just because, like, kind of what we were saying earlier about the women's division in particular, like, Bayley and Sasha are pretty much holding the division together. And it's frustrating just because, like, they have all, they have talent. Like, Naomi's a very good wrestler. Like, Lacey Evans, not for nothing. Like, she was gaining momentum and she was, like, she was getting better in the ring. And I think that, if they stuck with it, she could have had, like, a really good, solid babyface character. And just depending on how strong they wanted to go with either the military side or just being, an everyday woman. Like, she posts videos of, like, how she is, like, on a farm and how she teaches her daughters, like, all these different things. So I feel like they could have really continued to build her up. And in a time when, if you maybe don't want as much wrestling and you want more video packages, like, I feel like someone like a Lacey Evans would benefit from just, like, hey, she's not on TV every week, so what is she doing at home type of thing, and just enhancing her character. So just thinking about, like, everything that they could be doing and what that time could have gone to, like, I guess maybe they were going, obviously, I guess we should assume that they were going for the comedic relief route and just to, like, kind of, like, change the pace and just have a break, I guess. But first of all, we're not even talking, like, it's just a 2-hour show. It's not even like it's Monday Night Raw. Like, it's not that long of a show. And I just feel bad for them, right? Like, I feel bad that they had to go out there and do that. And maybe they enjoyed it. Maybe they had a great time and they don't care and, like, it didn't bother them. But for me, I'm just like, there's just so much more you could be doing with all of them, and I just felt like it was a waste.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
And what's weird enough, and that's exactly what I'll say, and I'm going to really try to not just bury this, but it's really hard to not, right? It's putting lipstick on a pig here. The weird thing is that they have 3 to 4 major women out, right? They have no Becky. You have no Ronda Rousey. I mean, yes, she's been gone for quite a while. You have no Shayna Baszler. You have no Charlotte. And yet they take these 4 women and they kind of parade them out there, and to me gave me bad flashbacks of, like, the pre-Women's Evolution era. Not quite bra and panties and pillow fights, but to, like, kind of Divas era, where they had a belt that didn't mean a whole lot. They were the kind of commercial break. They were the comedic relief. They were like that, take a breath before we get to the main event. Like, that's just like the lighthearted moment of the show where you don't really need to pay attention, but it's there, like if you stayed, and it's just, and I hate that. I hate that for them. No, I don't. To me, this was like a step back for the women's division. Mm-hmm. Like you present them, and not as sex symbols. They didn't obviously do that. I mean, that was at the worst, but they presented them as not important. Like that, I don't want to feel that way. Like Lacey Evans, like you said, she was on a roll. She was pulling the whole military thing out, showing how much she cared for her daughter, and she was being kind of the every woman, but she had a tough side to her and defending her family, and even who is it? Not Lacey Evans, but Tamina, who comes out every 6 months. I guess she's kind of like the groundhog, and I don't know. I guess she saw her shadow or something, or she didn't see her shadow, which is why she's out. And she comes out, and she was just in a women's title match, and then she's singing karaoke. Naomi, who is kind of like was back and then went away for a while and now is back again. She was clearly the star of the show, and not to touch on political stuff, but man, I don't know how you don't look at the political undertones of her coming out there and singing to Dusty Rhodes' American Dream theme as a black woman. I have no problem with it, but was it coincidence? I don't know. I don't know how, as WWE being a publicly traded organization, doesn't look at that as something that is not by design, right? Like, and again, it's not a bad look at all. It's just kind of like, you kind of scratch your head and go, this is clearly a wink and a nod to what's going on in the world today. So and then also you had Lacey Evans turn heel, essentially, I guess, attacking Naomi after she won. So like this whole thing, it was like a bad dream. I don't know. So I don't have much to say else about it. It was just, I
don't either. Well, and I guess just the last thing I do really quick is just that, and then like the match that they, I guess like if you would call it that, like it was so brief. It was like what, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that. It's just like, why couldn't you just give them a match? Like, why can't you just use that karaoke time to give them like an actual match? So it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just
when you don't have a strong like main event card, like you have Bayley and Sasha, and that's it.
Then there's everyone else.
And then you know, and it's not a knock on them because it's not their fault, you know, like it's just one of those things. And then where did Sonya Deville go?
I don't know. Just gone. I mean, where the heck? I'm glad she at least didn't participate. If Sonya Deville was in this, though, I'd actually rather have her not there versus on there and just completely undoing everything, all the awesome work she's done over the last couple of months with her mic work coming out of nowhere. Like, where the hell did this come from? And so the other good thing is, too, I didn't see Mandy Rose or Otis, at least unless I skipped through it on SmackDown, which is always a good thing for me. I mean,
I don't think so.
So that's good. I think we need a break from Mandy and Otis, and that's a whole other conversation. So, all right, back to something that I guess, depending on your take, could be good or bad. So I'll split the difference on SmackDown here. Strowman and Wyatt. Now, this is being billed as a swamp fight, not a swamp match. It's just a fight that they're going to have in a swamp, apparently where Strowman was born or where he first came in contact with Bray Wyatt. And
of course, right? Like, where else would they meet?
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to know the actual location of this place. Yeah. There's probably some anonymous swamp in Florida. I don't know. But what do you think about this program? Are you enjoying the fact that they're going back to the Black Sheep, and that Braun Strowman is struggling with the darkness inside him, that there's an internal battle going on in him, and Bray Wyatt brought back the character that we all thought was dead, so now he's like the three faces of Foley. He's got three different characters, which personally I love. But so it's really Braun Strowman versus the swamp cult leader of Bray Wyatt that we thought was dead. So how are you enjoying this? They haven't done a whole lot of progress. This past week, it was really just a replay of their Backlash, or I'm sorry, was it Money in the Bank? They went to their Money in the Bank match. So yeah, what do you think about this whole program? Have they built it and then story behind it?
I'm really happy that they went back to it. I think with Braun as your champion for SmackDown, I think you need a character like a Bray for him. Just due to the kind of lack of depth there for him right now. And just with the type of fighter and character that Braun is, I don't say I guess he is limited, but not in that way. It's just, it's hard to have like your average opponent for him, right? And have it make sense and just like have a substantial storyline. So, and just not even for that, just for like selfish reasons. Like I thought from the beginning, like they left a lot on the table initially with their first match that they went into, like storyline wise. I felt like they could have dug so much deeper into that. And like you said, I'm a big fan of the cult version of Bray Wyatt coming back and the kind of the three faces of Foley type of correlation there. If anyone can pull it off, obviously Bray Wyatt can. And I think it's perfect too, because it buys us more time. And I think Braun is going to beat, or I guess win somehow, or just stand tall, depending on how the match and like whatever this thing ends up being is, how you can determine a winner, that is. But I think he's going to be that winner, and I think it's going to lead to SummerSlam, which is where The Fiend made his debut, right, against Finn Balor. So I think that can kind of be the culmination there, and just have The Fiend beat Braun. As much as I don't necessarily think The Fiend needs to have the title, or do I want him to have the title, but I think for now, like, you just need a story more than wrestling, which is crazy to say because it's a wrestling show. But I think like having The Fiend as a core of that show will help a thread from week to week and just help maintain, or just maybe even bring back some fans who maybe have fallen off just because there's no real story to like really like sink into. So I think this could be the start of that, and just it can't be but so bad, right? I mean, like, it's not like it's for the title or anything like that. So it's not even like we should go into it having our expectations like super high. We should just go in there with an open mind and enjoy it for what it is, really. So I'm just excited to see them doing something else and just a new direction, you know.
I've kind of waved the white flag getting angry about the cinematic presentations because this is the world that we're in now. This is not a one-off. This is not a 1 or 2 month type thing. Clearly, this is now, we're going on 4 months. and who knows how much longer. I mean, if I were to guess, probably into the early fall. Maybe around, my guess again, this is all just my brain, is probably October-ish. You might start seeing fans back, depending, of course, on how the virus goes and where it spreads is key. Because what does WWE do with their schedule? Do you keep the schedule and pick and choose the towns that you may have less risk? I mean, I don't know how this is going to work. Do you just do fans at the Performance Center? Who knows? This is tough for WWE to all hash out because of so many unknowns. But I think you're right, and that's been my prediction too, is that this thing is going to continue through SummerSlam with Bray Wyatt losing again to Braun Strowman in the Swamp fight. And then it's The Fiend. It's his highest level. It's his most sinister character coming out at SummerSlam, where Bray Wyatt, the happy-go-lucky, albeit evil and creepy kids show host, is kind of like level 1. You anger him a little bit, he goes to level 2. And then level 3 is like the equivalent of Cactus Jack, right? I mean, you have Dude Love, equivalent to the Bray Wyatt kid show host. Then you have Mankind, obviously, in the middle right there with kind of the swamp cult leader. And then you have Three Faces of Foley capping off with Cactus Jack, equivalent to The Fiend. I think if that's how you're going to do it, that's exactly what's going to happen here at SummerSlam. Now, like you said, does he need the belt? No, I don't think he does. It kind of works against him. It's weird that I don't want to see Bray Wyatt with the championship because he's so special that I don't want to see him every week. So if they do give him the belt at SummerSlam, I don't want to see him on my TV every week. Just because he has the championship doesn't mean I need to have him on my screen. That's part of the mystique. That's what helps this character, is not being there a lot. So that's my thought. But yeah, I think that's where he captures it, probably in front of no one, or the same 15 fans or NXT trainees or whoever's there. That's my thinking too. And so, yeah, ultimately the Swamp Fight is what it is. There's going to be a lot of cinematics, a lot of music, a lot of sound effects, maybe a couple alligators thrown in, or snakes slithering around, or whatever other things they're going to do. It's going to be kind of like a boneyard match type of feel in a swamp. I think that's probably the tone that they're going to go with Bray Wyatt. But I don't know, honestly. I think this whole program has been good, and Braun Strowman's promo he gave a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown was probably the best promo he's ever given, ever. And talking about the internal struggle, saying that he's either going to come out of this the toughest SOB that he's ever been, or the toughest SOB this company's ever seen, or he's going to go back to an evil, dark place, and that basically, in wrestling terms, he's either going to stay babyface or he's going to turn heel. That's essentially what he was saying, but that internal struggle is there. So I love this story. I mean, it's as good as it probably can be. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and honestly, I could see a weird finish maybe at SummerSlam. If we do end up getting Braun versus The Fiend, I could see them maybe having, and I don't even know how they could pull it off, and maybe it's a horrible idea, but somehow having the Braun win without The Fiend really taking a loss somehow, but have it being because Braun actually does embrace that dark side, and we do see the black sheep, and then that could be the thread going forward. Maybe it's just a heel Braun as a champion going forward, because if you think about it, we have Drew on Raw as a good babyface champion, and Braun is on SmackDown, just kind of doing his own thing. And I think if he did turn heel, and I feel like Braun is that type of character who does need to be a heel. He just needs to be that monster and I just feel like he just expresses it better in the heel side. Like when it was him versus Roman, I felt like he was really good in that storyline. I feel like he can get back to that if he is just able to embrace that more and just have the right opponent. And he could, if he was able to turn heel and have those matches again, because in the future you could have him against a Daniel Bryan or a Drew Gulak or whoever, just whatever it may be. But I think there's way more options if you go that route. And then that could be a fun story too, just to see what that even looks like. So we'll see.
That could be really fun. Yeah, that could be a blast with Braun Strowman, maybe even joining Bray Wyatt and really becoming an absolute unstoppable duo. I mean, imagine them just joining forces. I think to me that's more attractive, and to have somebody stand up to them is going to be really fun to watch. And I think that one person is probably going to be a returning Roman Reigns. So I think the match that we all thought, and including yours truly, for months prior to this year's WrestleMania, that it was going to be Roman versus Bray Wyatt. And it probably was the plan until WWE caught wind that everyone knows that's going to be the plan. I think they'll eventually give us that match. I think it's going to be sometime later this year, whenever Roman comes back. And again, the thing is, you don't know with the virus, because that was the whole reason he left, was trying to protect his family. He doesn't want to catch it and then spread it to his family, and understandable. So with so many unknowns, I still believe we're going to get Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. Or we could get an evil, dark Braun Strowman, the Black Sheep versus Roman Reigns. Either way, if you see a heel turn from Braun, the equation has to balance itself out, which means Roman Reigns has to be returning shortly. So if I see a Roman Reigns or a Braun Strowman heel turn, I have to think, Roman's coming back. I think, I think that's probably where they're going to go. Do you think eventually they're going to get to Roman upon his return, immediately jumping into Bray Wyatt?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't see Roman doing anything else before that when he gets back, because there's really nothing else that would be even worthy of it, really. And I hate to say that, unless, things, depending on who comes back, of course. But at this time, like, if you were to come back this week, like, I don't see what else he should be doing other than going after Braun or Bray, depending on who's the champion. So I just, absolutely, that's exactly where they need to go. And it's crazy that I say that, because just a few months ago I was complaining that, I didn't want Roman to be the champion and all this, and just one of those things. And then just a few months later, it's like, yeah, I'm ready for him to come back and just have something. It's weird without him there. Like, as much as I was never like a huge Roman fan, but like I never hated him, but it is kind of weird without having him there. And they don't even mention him at all. Like, you would never even know he exists right now, which is a weird feeling because of how substantial and like how important he was to them. Yeah,
he just never existed. He was just a figment of our imaginations.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's probably a combination of a little frustration on Vince McMahon's part for maybe the way that he told them, or how long he took to tell them he doesn't feel comfortable, or whatever it may be. It clearly wasn't a decision he made until a week or two before WrestleMania, because of the way that WrestleMania panned out. Like, if you looked at SmackDown a week or two before, it was still Roman versus Goldberg.
Yeah.
And then a week before, we're like, wait, what? It's Goldberg versus Braun Strowman, of which they still never explained.
After he had released this video on Instagram, they were still advertising it.
Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of frustration on the part of WWE, a little friction between them and Roman. And I also think it's because they really have no clue when Roman Reigns is coming back. So I think they're trying to just keep him as far from our brains as possible, so that when he returns, A, it's a bigger return, and B, we're not tied to mentioning Roman Reigns weeks in advance, because we don't know when the heck he's coming back. So it's just a way to just clean the slate. He gets back when he gets back. So moving on, though, the other thing that happened on SmackDown, among others, a couple of big things. Number one, bar fight announced between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Now, I have asked Michael, who was a co-host on the show on Sunday last week, and he said that, basically, this is a very controversial thing to do. And I agreed, because, this is something that, when you talk about alcoholism and drug addiction and, basically things that people struggle with every day, especially today, I think there's probably more people abusing substances than ever before, with the stress going on, with maybe people losing their jobs, being stuck in their home for months, financial stress, all these things. And they bring out a storyline like this, and yes, Jeff Hardy has struggled. They showed his mugshots. They're owning the storyline. I understand all that. But, man, do they really need to bring this kind of thing to a place that people go to escape maybe from that thing? Maybe. Again, I'm not saying WWE is responsible for, or should be responsible for, making sure people stay sober. But, that being said, I know that people use entertainment and distractions to keep their mind off of maybe addictions they're struggling with. And WWE is introducing this storyline that really couldn't time it worse. Yet, at the same time, it's a storyline I'm kind of into, because it makes me want to see Sheamus get his ass kicked. So they're doing their job, but they're doing it in a head-scratching way. How do you feel about the storyline? Is it uncomfortable for you? Like, how do you view this?
So at first, like, I didn't really have that big of an issue with it. Like, I guess after week one, I kind of wanted to see like how it was going to play out and like how far in depth they went into this and like what route they took with it. And now it's just, every week I'm just like, why? Like, why go this route to begin with? Like, especially because I feel like the last one that Jeff had wasn't even that long ago. So it's just, I feel like it's too fresh. Even if he is doing very well and he hasn't drank or whatever adjustments and changes that he needed to make for himself and his family, like whatever he did, like if he did that and he's doing 100% better, which of course we hope he is, like even if that's the case, like I'm just like, why? Like you're not going to get that huge payoff because there's just not that atmosphere right now. Sheamus's character coming back, like that's not really, what is he going to do? Like not everyone is going to have like an addiction problem or a substance problem like Jeff has. So the next person that Sheamus is going to feud with, like how, like you're just not really building Sheamus's character. Like, yeah, you're building him as a bad guy, but like, what is he? Like, what is his purpose? Like, he's not even going after a title right now. Like, he's more focused on exposing Jeff for Jeff's issues than actually going and fighting for something and like, or getting revenge for something. So, I don't know, like, I guess like, and I understand why some people are like very upset by it and just have strong feelings about it. And I totally get that and respect that. But for me, it does bother me a little bit, but I'm just more in the same token. I'm just like, I think it bothers me because it's so unnecessary. Jeff is Jeff. Like everyone loves Jeff Hardy. Like you had so many other routes that you could have gone with having just a simple Jeff and Sheamus feud. Like it didn't have to be that. But for what it is each week and like the segments and Jeff in the ring, like for the toast and everything like that, like I guess it's fine and whatnot, but it's just kind of weird to me. Like, of all the times, like you said, like, why now to do this?
I mean, seriously, there hasn't been a worse time in history to do something like this. It's very head-scratching. I know what they're going for, and I get it. It's something real. They're trying to own it. They're making Sheamus clearly the bad guy here by trying to expose Jeff and bringing up his weaknesses and his demons and all this thing, and Jeff is playing I'm going to overcome this, and I'm going to show everyone and be an inspiration for everyone at home, which, again, it's kind of stomach-churning for me. I've never been a fan of, like, clearly pandering and I'll be your hero type thing. It's very, like, take your vitamins, eat your, say your prayers and all that kind of thing. I don't like that kind of babyface. I like babyface with an edge. And Jeff Hardy's turned into this rah-rah, inspirational, I'm going to show everyone that I can overcome type thing, and that's not my thing, not my taste. But I'm not sure what they're going after here. And furthermore, like, is beating Sheamus really vindication of you getting over your substance abuse? I mean, shouldn't that's just I guess a symbolic type of victory. It's not really overcoming and continuing to overcome your demons, right? So I don't know. I think WWE's covering their backside by having Jeff explicitly say that, this stuff's coming up, and I was bad in my past, I've gotten over it, and I've continued to fight, and I'm going to show everyone I'm an inspiration. They've covered themselves by talking about that explicitly, saying that, but see what we're doing here? We're trying to make this an inspiration for people at home. And instead, I would say, well, why even bring it up at all? Like, right. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone is sitting at home going, if Jeff doesn't win this, I'm gonna pound a beer. Like, no one's sitting at home, with a bottle in hand, going, if Jeff Hardy doesn't win this and it doesn't inspire me, I'm going back to my old habits. Like, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to own it, and I get it. That's the only way you can go if you're gonna really go full bore on this whole thing. I was hoping this storyline would really go a month, and it's going 2 months now, 2 pay-per-views. I expect Jeff Hardy to really come out on top here. I don't see any other way. If this ends in Jeff Hardy face down in a pile of booze after a bro kick in a bar, I don't know. I don't understand it. I really won't have any idea what they're going for. But they could have gone so many different roads with Sheamus as a heel, who's doing really well since his return. But this is just bizarre at the horror show Extreme Rules, whatever the hell that means. So.
Right. You can't forget that.
Yeah, they changed it like 3 times. So
Right.
I thought originally they were referring to just the swamp fight.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm like, what do you mean the horror? Is it Halloween? Like, what is this Halloween Havoc? Like, what are they talking about? And I don't know where they came up with the horror show. Like, I have no clue. I don't understand. There was just somebody in a production meeting from marketing was like, it'd be really cool if we add the horror show to Extreme Rules, and it doesn't make any sense. But nonetheless, okay, something I really love: Sheamus and Cesaro, who seem to be being resurrected over the last couple of weeks. We'll see how long that lasts. But Cesaro cutting a real promo for the first time in 6 months. On the mic, talking and tearing down New Day in every way that I've been tearing down New Day for months and months and really years at this point, about them just being happy and go lucky and throwing pancakes and more worried about selling merchandise and all this thing. And really, I loved it. I hope Cesaro eventually gets his due with some kind of championship run. And I mean, like, in title contention for the Universal Championship. I think Cesaro could get there. I think Shinsuke has really, probably not at that level, but I like what they did. They dismantled the New Day this past week. They sent a message to New Day, and I hope they're here to stay, and I hope they're here for a long time and not just a good time. But what are your thoughts on Cesaro and Shinsuke? Hey guys, so retirement may or may not be something that you're really thinking about, but even if you are years and years away, I mean, I'm 20 years away from retirement, but it's something that we should all be thinking about. There's a company that has retirement plans that you can invest in precious metals like gold, silver, and cryptocurrency. There's also a big opportunity to grow retirement and grow income for either your personal or a business. And anyone who signs up at this website receives a free investment kit and gift. So what is this website? It's brightmoneyinvestments.com. That's brightmoneyinvestments.com. You can diversify and grow with metals and cryptos, and you can even talk to someone there to get a better idea of what you should be investing in. So head on over to brightmoneyinvestments.com.
I agree with you on this one. I'm so here for it, and I feel like it's time, I feel like, I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger before recently, especially with everything now, because they need more tag teams, and they just need more, especially heels. And Cesaro, I just feel like, yeah, he may not be, I guess, everyone's favorite promo or even a good promo to some people, but I enjoy it, and I don't think everyone needs to have that stereotypical, like, promo, like, they announce it every word and things like that, and they're, like, crisp. I think, like, you need diversity, and Cesaro and Shinsuke, like, obviously have that, and they're fresh, and they're a really good tag team, and they just gel well together. It's just fun, and I've always been a huge fan of Cesaro, for so many years now, and it's sad that he's never gotten that push and that main event, I guess, run that I feel like he deserves, because he's just a freak athlete. Like, he's just so amazing and just so scary strong. It's just one of those things where it's just, man, like, you can't wait for that moment, and you hope he gets it. So nonetheless, if he ends up getting like a tag team championship run with Shinsuke, I'm absolutely here for it. And I think they need it because, the New Day, like, they're fine, but I'm just kind of like over the New Day now. I need a break, and I just want something new.
I do too. I think that, again, with COVID and all this stuff, it's time to do something and experiment and see how the fans react, which is really the only way you can gauge it, which is social media. It's the only platform right now that you can.
And social media loves Cesaro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, social media doesn't love me. I'm off Twitter, and then Facebook somehow just took my damn Facebook page down. So I'm really only on Instagram now. That's a whole other story. Somebody's got it out for me. I mean, seriously, somebody is.
It's the hacker. He's been gone because he's been ruining your social media.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I guess the truth will be exposed, or whatever he says.
It will.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Somebody's got it out for me, but anyway, I'll just, I don't know. Maybe I'll go on Snapchat. I don't know who the hell knows. But anyway, yeah, Cesaro is a guy, when he comes on the mic, it's like, you never know what you're going to get from him. It's typically just a couple of words. In this case, I really like what they did, and he doesn't feel like, you said, he doesn't feel like he's reciting something like many stars do, that everything is just so nicely said, and there's always like a cute little line at the end. He's a guy that's just kind of straight in your face. I love his shirt that says he's a wrestling purist because it's exactly what he is. And again, I would love to see him have a major title run. But the fact is, and I mentioned this on a show last week, that with Vince McMahon looking at Cesaro as, well, I don't know what his problem is. It could be because he's Swiss. If everyone remembers that line on Stone Cold's podcast not many years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, I think that he looks at him still as that's the problem. That he's Swiss? How the hell is that the problem? No, that's not the problem. And I don't think that Vince really truly gets Cesaro and why fans want to get behind him. I could see him having kind of a Kofi / Daniel Bryan magic run if he's ever put in a situation that fans could say, hey, this could be his moment, right? Like with the Chamber, Kofi got magic lightning in a bottle. Daniel Bryan had organic fan support from the beginning. I think Cesaro has that same kind of support, that fans are just know that he's been misused and misbooked for many, many years, and he's a hell of an athlete. People respect him. If he could really be that guy, that one of the list of guys that Vince would go, I don't get it. Why are they cheering for him? And Vince just doesn't get it, but the fans do. He's like that kind of guy. But if I'll take a tag team title run, anybody but the New Day at this point. I don't care when New Day is champion. I just don't care anymore. Having Otis and Tucker no longer really a team, it was kind of head scratching. Heavy Machinery never really got any traction. They just kind of went with, Otis is a funny guy. Let's pull him out of the tag team. That's more important. And I think
Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker's just flapping in the wind. We don't know where he's at. Otis is around with Mandy doing daydream fantasy images of him and Lana at the pool. I mean, like they're too busy just trying to make him a funny big fat man, and instead of making them a legitimate tag team and bolstering the tag team division, they decided to just make him a comedy act. But that's a whole other rant. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. Cesaro and Shinsuke, for that matter, too. That tag team, hopefully, these past 2 weeks are an indication of where they're going, and not just a one-off. Let's get them through Extreme Rules and then we'll kind of pull them back type of thing. I hope that's the case. So. All right. Moving on to one more thing that SmackDown delivered was a announcement that next week Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. I didn't get your thoughts on the whole Matt Riddle sexual assault allegation from Candy Cartwright and that whole thing. And I've mentioned my thoughts many times on this show, so I won't. But what are your thoughts on WWE pushing this guy now into a title opportunity, given the allegations out there? I think that kind of tells the message of, number one, we probably don't think that Matt Riddle is going to be convicted based on the evidence presented. And it also, number two, sends a message to those that are trying to tear down professional athletes' careers by just a simple allegation that, no, we're not giving you this power just because you say something happened when nothing really happened. Again, if Matt Riddle's guilty, he should be fired and charged and all that. But the power of words right now, I think WWE is sending the message that, hey, until there's substantial evidence, we're not going to suspend this guy, nor are we going to fire him. And it's a direct message to anybody who's maybe considering that. And there are badly intentional people with bad intentions out there. I mean, there just are. But I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. But I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about this whole thing with Matt Riddle being pushed despite the outstanding sexual assault allegations?
Honestly, it should go without saying, if everything turns out that he did end up doing, horrible things and he is found guilty, then absolutely, I think him being fired should be the least, and everything should play out how it should play out appropriately, following that. But as of right now, I feel like, especially WWE, and this isn't like a true main event guy that we're talking about, like a Drew McIntyre or a Big Show or a Braun Strowman or Bray Wyatt or anyone like a main event level person right now, or a main fixture on the show. So they could have very easily even had Matt debut that 1 week, have a very good showing, and then cool off on him until everything plays out. So I think that for them to still be pushing him and to be showcasing him as they are, I feel like they have to have evidence and substantial proof to have faith in knowing that what he's saying is true, or that, the situation didn't happen maybe as it did. And I hate saying that because I don't, we don't know for sure, right, what happened. So I just feel like there's substantial proof for them. And like you said, like if he is found guilty or if he did do these things, he should be fired. But I think right now they have to have enough on their end to prove and have to feel good knowing that they can show him each week and continue to push him. And again, I feel like if you're going to be having him on TV, you should be pushing him, because then he shouldn't be on TV to begin with, especially just starting off. So, and that whole his no shoe explanation was interesting.
I was wondering what you thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's Matt Riddle, right? Like, it's just one of those things, like, first of all, like, you would never, ever guess that story, So it was humorous to me just in that fact, like, okay, like, that you kind of wouldn't expect, like, maybe an explanation from him, but if you do, it would be some crazy story about him going to Wisconsin on a family trip and getting frostbite. So it's just, it's comical, right? So I'm entertained but by the fact that they are, like, actually letting him kind of be himself in a way. And I just hope that they continue, right? And I feel like he could be what they needed on SmackDown, what SmackDown's been missing, which is weird because he's not your go-to for, like, a strong promo per se, but he can be your go-to for just that good character and just that good body that you need out there that everyone just, like, likes for whatever reason, like, you don't even have to necessarily have a reason to just be like, all right, well, there's Matt Riddle, and he can back it up, right? He's not just some, like, average talent. Like, he is insanely strong. Like, he can give you a good match like that, like we've been seeing. So I'm just here for him. I'm so here for it.
Yeah, this guy, they clearly have a big future plan for Matt Riddle, and them not taking action against Matt Riddle in any way, scolding him. There's been nothing, and just really defying the whole allegation and kind of going in spite of what Candy Cartwright is alleging, tells you that, number one, Matt Riddle has convinced WWE that there is not any evidence of him doing this sexual assault act, and we've heard the story, and but he did admit to an affair on his wife, right? Like, so he did publicly admit. I'm sure you saw the video. It was like a 2-minute video he posted on Instagram, saying that, yeah, I did have an affair. I'm not proud of it. I cheated on my wife.
Oh no, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, he posted this 4 days ago. It was an explanation of admitting that he did cheat on his wife, but he did not sexually assault Candy Cartwright or anyone else. It's like a lot of information in 2 minutes. Yeah, so check that out. But so it's bad. Like, he cheated on his wife, right? That's bad. But is it enough to get him fired? No. I mean, the thing is, it's bad to say, but in the sport of professional wrestling, you're on the road a lot, and you have possibly a wife or husband at home, right? It's a sport and a lifestyle that kind of lends itself to something like that happening. I'm not saying it's right, doesn't make it right, but it certainly is an environment that is kind of condones, and it's almost expected in that environment. I mean, I've heard stories from many legends like Ric Flair and really Stone Cold admitting to it at times, like that. It's, he went too hard too fast, and that,
look
situations.
At Matt and Lita.
Yeah,
Matt, Edge, and Lita.
There are so many things that we'll never know of, things that have happened behind the scenes between this and that, and cheating and all. It's just a perfect storm of an environment for those kinds of situations. So with Matt Riddle admitting this, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you and how many other pro wrestlers, right? Like, it's not a good thing. It shouldn't normalize that. It's bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, well, that's kind of what happens here. So that was kind of brushed to the side. He admitted it and he owned it, and that's that. But the whole sexual assault, he said no to. And his explanation of the frostbitten feet, I was very perplexed by it. I know Matt Riddle is kind of kooky, and his promos aren't exactly mind blowing. just like, so, I try not to think of things in a logical way when I hear wrestling promos sometimes, because if I do, it takes me out of the moment. I'm trying to just turn my head off and my brain on like shutdown mode. But when Matt Riddle's talking about his explanation, I'm like, how is that? Like, if he got truly frostbite that way, right? First of all, if he says he can't really feel his feet or has nerve damage or can't feel part of his feet, I'm pretty sure that, and I'm not a doctor, that if you did, number one, you'd probably see some tissue damage. Like, we've seen what frostbite looks like.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have control of your feet and get to the level of a professional athlete if you truly weren't able to feel your feet, because then you don't really have control. And I'm pretty sure that putting shoes on is not a side effect after many years after this happened of making your feet feel like they're on fire. Like a lot of this was just, it was just like, wait, what? Like, it was bizarre. I like Matt Riddle so far, but it was just like, none of this is even like this is so anti-science. Like, I'm like, no, like, this is not how this works. But whatever. Like, I'm just chalk it up because he's so damn good in the ring. I mean,
Right.
I love his look. I love his style. He could have said bro a few less times. I know his bro is his gimmick. I get it. But I counted. It was like 10, 12 times that he said bro in like a 3-minute promo. Whatever. But I think those that have not seen Matt Riddle in NXT are kind of like, what is this dude? Who is this dude? Right? So, I don't know. I like Matt Riddle, but yeah.
Oh, people who have never seen Matt Riddle before are probably so confused.
Yeah, because he's so different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's move on to Monday Night Raw, and we'll close things out here. What do you think of an eye for an eye match? Right? Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules. The horror show Extreme Rules, got to say the whole paragraph here.
Right.
An eye for an eye match. I got to ask, what the hell is an eye for an eye match? How is that even, like, how does that work, right? Does the referee stop it only when you gouge out your opponent's eye? Like, how does this work?
I think that's actually the official rule. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that you have to actually, like, that eye has to be, like, removed to win. So I'm just like, wait, what?
How are they going to do that?
Right. First of all, how are you going to do that? And then, like, it makes me, I don't know why, but I flashed, maybe because Seth was involved, I flashed back to, like, the Hell in a Cell, right, with him and The Fiend. And, like, when the referee stopped that match because it was too much. But now, like, we can have an eye for an eye match. And, like, the whole way you win is by gouging someone's eye out. And it's just, like, I don't know. Like, I get, like, you need a stipulation or you need, like, I don't know, like a gimmick, I guess, per se, for this type of match or, like, something, which is fine. And I agree because of what Seth has been doing and to Rey particularly and then to Dominic. So, absolutely, it shouldn't be just a regular wrestling match. But, like, I don't, why? It's like, I guess, is it just kind of like the greatest wrestling match ever type of thing just to get people talking about it? Maybe, probably. Is it going to be like another like cinematic type of thing? Like, is it going to not actually be in the ring? Are they going to like pre-tape it somewhere? Or is it like half of it's going to be spliced in? Or like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But then it's like you kind of expect Rey to lose because how would Seth go around without an eye? Is he going to wear an eye patch for like the rest of his life? Because if his eye is gouged out, you know, it's gone forever.
They can't, yeah, there's no way, and those are the official rules. WWE needs to tweak those. Like that, I don't know how they could get away with that's how you win, because the plausibility of that, like, and it's a PG era on top of it. Like, I'm okay if they have the eye for an eye where, you know, you have to damage your opponent's eye, but gouging it out is a whole nother world, because then that person's forever blind and they're always going to wear a patch. That ends your career. Like, it has to be maybe Seth getting what happened to, you know, what he did to Rey happened to him. You know, putting his eye in the corner of the steps, that's how you win, right? If you have blood coming from your eye, that's how it ends. I don't know. To me, an eye for an eye match should never be a thing. To me, it should be just a part of a promo. It should just be like explaining what you're going to do to your opponent. It should be Rey Mysterio cutting that promo, saying that, you know, whatever the stipulation, maybe it would have been a street fight. I don't know. Probably something else, but it should be just part of a promo, not a stipulation for a match. Right. But nonetheless, this whole story has been really well done. I mean, you talk about getting more mileage out of Rey Mysterio that I didn't think we'd ever get. And in the second half of his career here, the back end of his career, as he kind of rides off into the sunset. And Dominic, too, who seems like he's all in. I've really enjoyed this storyline. Seth Rollins continues to really repair himself from the damage of WrestleMania and the damage of Money in the Bank, losing back-to-back. He seems to be back in a strong position. I'm loving where he's going. I love his promos. I love his just really hallucination with who he is and telling people that they should want to be sacrificed for the greater good and not understanding why they don't want to be. And I'm loving it. And more every week. I assume AOP is probably not far behind to rescue Seth at some point. But Kevin Owens back is also a good thing. Seeing Kevin Owens back for the first time in however long, it was great. And I'm glad that they didn't ignore the history between Seth and KO, right? Like they didn't just pretend WrestleMania never happened. They actually addressed it. I was surprised. I thought for sure it would just be just totally like it never happened. And instead they didn't do that. I was very happy about that.
Me too. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was pleasantly surprised as well. And it gives me more hope, right? For I guess the wrestlers going forward because Kevin, like, you just know like that. Maybe it was probably like a prude before he went out there, but it just felt real, right? And he actually just addressed something that happened in the past, even though it wasn't that long ago, but sometimes in WWE, even the past can be like last week and you never mention it again or it didn't happen or you just never get an explanation or a follow-up or anything. And for him to like acknowledge that, yeah, like no matter if you win or lose at WrestleMania, if you're in a match with someone, you share a bond and you share something with that person. So that kind of, I feel like he did so much there and it just shows again how good Kevin Owens can be and is on the mic because in that moment, he reminded you how special WrestleMania itself is as an event, no matter what the situation is, whether there's, thousands of people there or no one there. Like, it still meant something to him. And if it means something to them as performers, then it should to us because that's why we're watching, right? So it was a nice thing. And Seth didn't downplay it. Like, Seth actually acknowledged it and Seth, like, kind of embraced it too. Like, yeah, like he put his own spin on it, but it was one of those things. And the shirt was a nice touch because that's just, Kevin Owens, that's just who Kevin is. So it was just a nice little moment there and something that I hope they like kind of give them more leeway on just to actually like acknowledge certain things because sometimes it's just so weird that you like for instance 2 people can be in the same ring together but like you never acknowledge what happened just like a couple months ago even though a couple months ago it was this big angle. So it was just kind of refreshing. It
was and I'm really glad because like you said they do that so many times where they just assume that fans aren't going to care, nor will they remember about things that happen. And I think they underestimate the memory of fans. And being rewarded for remembering a story, it should be something that happens and something that I look forward to WWE rewarding me for remembering a certain thing happening and going, why aren't they addressing it? And then they address it and I go, thank you. It doesn't insult the intelligence. It makes me really, I guess, proud of the promotion to go, yeah, see, they actually are congruent in their storytelling. And so, again, it was just a small thing, but it was just something I go, oh, wow, thank you. They're actually not pretending that this didn't happen at WrestleMania. So, but nonetheless, great story overall. I'm glad to see Kevin Owens back. I have no clue where the hell he's going. He's just kind of like popping in and out lately, too. I think after Extreme Rules is probably where we'll see him get put in some kind of steady program. I hope it's not with Seth Rollins. I mean, I've seen enough of that for a while. But I mean, again, I don't know where they're going with him, but I hope there's something other than just hosting a talk show that he gets put into. But another good thing, Kairi Sane was back. Somebody that I really thought was just gone for really just her uninspired work at WrestleMania. I mean, and again, this is not me just taking down Kairi Sane and putting down her work. She's an excellent worker, but I would argue that, WrestleMania and a few months prior, she looked very uninspired, kind of going through the motions. You should see her face when she's coming out at WrestleMania. It's just like, I'd rather be anywhere but here. And she ended up taking the pinfall that night. And, she came back with a fist and fury this week. And, yeah, she picked up the win in a disqualification, but they didn't have her lose. They didn't have her lose straight out to Sasha Banks, who right now is, like you said, one half of the women's division, really, with Bayley on the other half. And, yes, Bayley was the one who caused the DQ, but to me, Kairi Sane could be really maybe next in line for a championship opportunity. I know that she's on Raw and Bayley's on SmackDown, but if they hold the tag team belts, they can go anywhere. So maybe Kairi versus Bayley is up next. Who knows? But I don't know. It was good to see Kairi Sane back. I like her work. I think they underutilized her in the first run that she's had, and I hope they do more with her moving forward.
Yeah, no, I do as well. And I wouldn't even be mad if they were more lenient with the whole brand split during these times. And I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't been up until this point, or with, I don't know, because I guess it's tricky, right? But like, just for maybe the women's division, for instance, like I would love to see like a Bayley and Kairi Sane feud. So I hope that they aren't that stubborn in this aspect to not do something like that, or just even allow Bayley to show up on Raw or continuously, which she technically can since she's the tag team champion. I mean, maybe they can pull it off that way, and that could be the excuse why Kairi shows up on SmackDown. But yeah, I was hoping she wasn't going to go back to Japan right now, just because I feel like they need her, and she's a very good babyface. Like, she's believable. She's a very good worker. And I'd be here for it. And I think it would be a good babyface opponent for Bayley to play off of as well.
Yeah, it would be. And Kairi Sane, I love her in-ring work. Her insane elbow is great. Yeah. I think she was off TV obviously for a little while because of Nia Jax and her injuring her eighth person, in like a couple of years. But again, Bayley versus Bayley versus Kairi Sane, if they want to go that road, sure. And like I said, I am always in the world of the belief, normally in a normal world, of do not touch the brand split. Stop with the wild card rule. Yeah. Just keep the damn world separate, or don't even bother with a brand split, because you're saying that there's a brand split, but then you just 3 weeks later, so and so shows up with no explanation. And all of a sudden there's a blockbuster trade of AJ Styles going to SmackDown for Dolph Ziggler and for Bobby Roode. I mean, or Robert Roode. I mean, like things like that just
we still haven't seen.
No, we haven't seen them yet. Which to me, still, if you're actually doing like a football trade or baseball or whatever, to me, someone of the caliber of AJ Styles is worth more than Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Like that's a blockbuster. That's like. I don't know, the equivalent of, if people don't know baseball, so many of you are like, who's that? But Garrett Cole going to the New York Yankees, and who are they trading in return? Well, I don't know, it's to be determined. Those are players to be named later. No, like, how is it? People would lose their minds, right? But it's WWE, so...
and one guy hasn't even been on TV in who knows how long.
So I don't know. But Kairi Sane, great move. And I hope that this is, again, a sign of things to come down the line. A couple of things on Raw, and then we'll touch on Fyter Fest and Great American Bash. Heath Slater back on Raw. I did not see that coming. He probably cut the best promo of his career because it was very real, I think. Trying to be the pawn of Dolph Ziggler, who will be facing Drew McIntyre at the horror show Extreme Rules. And I really enjoyed Heath's promo. It felt real, and trying to bait in Drew McIntyre and saying that you owe me. It was kind of weird from this perspective. They built him up really well, and it was a very quick boom, Claymore, and it's over. I was kind of disappointed by that. That tells me that Heath Slater was there for kind of a one-off. I don't know if he's going to be in Dolph's corner at the horror show Extreme Rules. I don't know. This is probably not a long run from Heath, but I would hope WWE maybe reconsiders, because for what I saw from Heath, I saw more from him in 10 minutes of his promo than I did all the years in 3MB, or all the time that he did eating Cheese Whiz with Rhino at his trailer park with his kids, or whatever. I mean, so Heath Slater, I hope they do something with him. I don't know his contract status, but if it's something long-term, awesome. If it's just a one-off, I'm kind of disappointed. based on the results of Monday night with just a single Claymore, and it's boom over with no effort really or a single drop of sweat from Drew McIntyre, tells me it's probably a one-off. But what do you think of Heath Slater being brought back on Monday night?
I was so impressed, just like you said. It was amazing. Like you said, what was it, 10 minutes? It was a completely different guy. And his look too, like I remember him, he wasn't a scrawny look guy, but he wasn't like the biggest, but I remember like just this past Monday, he looked jacked. Like he looked like he was in really great shape and just like a different version of himself, and that serious vibe. Like I took him seriously right off the bat. The second I saw him, I was like, wow, like this isn't like the same Heath Slater that we've seen. Like this is a completely different guy. So I was really excited to see what they were going to do. And once, like you said, once Drew beat him immediately, I was kind of like down because I of course I didn't want like a long match because that shouldn't happen right now. But I was kind of just disappointed because I don't want him to go away, and I hope that maybe they did see something in him and can use him going forward in a capacity, like even if it's just like for the IC championship or like a US run, but just have like a serious version of him, you know, like, and for him to say like, yeah, the I got kids thing was like a gimmick, but it is true, like he does have kids just after 20, you know, he has 2 little girls, like that's real, you know, like you can get behind that. It's kind of like the Drake Maverick storyline, like you get behind stuff like that, right? If you just let them have like a real storyline and acknowledge something that's actually happening. So I'm not hopeful as I say all that though, that they're going to keep him around and actually do something with him. But I think they could, and I think they should. And I think he deserves it for everything that he's put in over the years. I don't think that he really got his chance that he deserves. I mean, he had a good tag team run, and that was a good tag team with Rhino, you know, when they were actually kind of serious, like they had potential, but he was good, but he didn't really have like the full opportunity that maybe he could have, to have like maybe a singles run, or to get the chance to see what that looks like, if nothing else. But yeah, if nothing else, like, it was an interesting look at Drew, though. It was interesting having Heath call Drew out, you know, and because Drew has been like this good babyface that's been like saving guys and just been there and, you know, doing the right thing. And then all of a sudden we have Heath just calling Drew out for not calling to check up on him and not remembering the last time that they spoke. And it was actually on the bump, apparently, that they spoke via, I guess, video chat or whatever. So that was just an interesting side of Drew. Like, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with that, or if it was just that it was the truth and Heath came out and just spoke the truth, and then that's that. And then next week Drew goes back to just being like a pure good guy, or if we start seeing like little things like that, which I necessarily wouldn't be for, but it was just an interesting turn, to say the least, or an interesting little tidbit.
It really was, like you said, yeah, that's a good way to put it, with Heath feeling a totally new guy. I was just like, where have you been the last 10 years?
Yeah.
You know, like, I was thinking, you could actually, if billed correctly, I was like, you know, what do they do? Why did this guy never come out? You know, and because they put him in comedy. I mean, he originally was with the Nexus, and then kind of floated around in 3MB. It was just a joke of a group. Went to Rhino and Heath Slater, which was semi-serious, then kind of dismantled, and then the I Got Kids thing, and he has been kind of the butt of a lot of jokes. And this past week, it was like, and I kind of was looking at him. I'm like you said, he did look jacked. He physically looked different. On the mic, he was different. And I don't know, again, I hope this is something a little bit long-term, or some kind of experiment. Maybe they're like, hey, we're going to kind of go week to week and see how people react. It's hard with no audience, but I honestly think that if there was a crowd there, that people would be chanting for Heath. I mean, it just, he's an underdog. He's one of those guys that just, people know that he has been, I think, misused, and especially when they see what he did this past week and go, oh, that was there. I didn't know that was there on Heath. So anyway, moving on. Lashley, quick question on him. He's kind of gone taken a couple of steps back. He's just beating up Cedric Alexander and Ricochet on Raw. MVP still there, thank God. I believe you and I had talked about how MVP has just been awesome. And has really, really reinvigorated Lashley's career. Lana is no longer a factor, thank God. So it's just Lashley being Lashley, which is what it should be. Do you think that they are intentionally taking him a step or two back to propel him forward for SummerSlam? Or do you think this is kind of WWE putting him back in a place that they think he should be? I mean, it's kind of weird that they position him back, a couple of pegs, but what's going on with Lashley?
I would like to think that they were pulling him back to push him forward, for SummerSlam time, but I don't see it because I don't see them pulling the trigger on having him becoming champion and beating Drew. I don't see it, and I don't think that it would be necessary or right to have him, be feuding with Apollo Crews or in being around MVP and being built up right now just to be sacrificed to Drew again. What's the point? Because then what is he going to do after that? It's just going to be like a weird cycle. So as much as I hate to say it, because I feel like they could have made him like a main event guy and like a very serious threat. Like right now, I kind of see him as, maybe being the guy that beats Apollo Crews and just being like a strong, dominant U.S. champion and having MVP right there by his side. But, with how strong MVP has been lately and how MVP presented the new championship and he's been the one holding the title, and that the new version of it. It's an interesting twist, and I don't know if that means that maybe MVP is going to win the title first, and then Bobby's going to get jealous or what have you. So I'm just curious to see how that ends up playing out, because I really like MVP and Bobby Lashley together. I think MVP is perfect for Lashley, like just the perfect mouthpiece. And because in WWE, like, I guess if you can't talk, like, that's like the main thing. And that, I guess that would be the reason why, if I had to make an assumption, why Bobby Lashley never really got that strong championship run. It's because maybe he's not that great on the mic. So, but now you have MVP right there. So that kind of takes care of that problem. So I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do with Bobby Lashley, but I don't see him necessarily going back in the main event picture anytime soon, like anytime within the next few months, as unfortunate as that is. But I think he should be the U.S. champion. I think he should be a strong U.S. champion at that.
Yeah, that is disappointing. I mean, if that's the case, that they did all this stuff and built him up and made him a very formidable opponent for Drew McIntyre, and I was really looking forward to that match, and having him lose the way he did because of Lana, I guess, was the out. It's just disappointing that they put him back in this position, but my hope is that they are positioning him for a reboost to SummerSlam, where it's possibly Lesnar versus Lashley versus McIntyre. That's my thinking. If not, it's probably just going to be McIntyre versus Lashley, or McIntyre versus Lesnar, and we have Lashley doing something else, possibly in the United States Championship picture, but. It's hard because, like you mentioned, he's not great on the mic. When he gets on the mic, it's awkward. He talks about his three sisters or whatever. I mean, just weird. He's not good. But we've seen in the past where guys who are not good on the mic are big names and are champions and are really Hall of Famers. Roman Reigns, not good on the mic. And they continue to protect him. He's just got the it factor. He's got the push from the company. He has been and will be a Hall of Famer. We have Brock Lesnar, who has been known to be, he's not good on the mic either. Although you could argue that he's entertaining on the mic because he's a loose cannon. You never know what the hell he's going to say. But he's not good wrestling, quote, wrestling promo material on the mic. That's why they have Paul Heyman. Now you've done the same thing with Lashley. You've implemented MVP to counter the weakness of Lashley on the mic. And so, really, you don't have any excuses here. WWE has no excuses now for not pushing Lashley to the top. And I love Drew. You love Drew. I think the majority of fans want to celebrate with Drew whenever the heck we get back into a live format. And therein lies the problem. Because if they were going to ever push Lashley, the problem is, well, when do you do it? Because fans have not gotten a chance to celebrate with Drew McIntyre at his win at WrestleMania. Yet you want to push Lashley. So would the fans get super angry that WWE decided to not give them the opportunity and rob them of the opportunity of being able to celebrate with Drew in a live format by pushing Lashley and taking the belt off of him? I mean, they're in a conundrum, right? I would assume Drew is probably going to hold on to that for quite a while. I know Lashley or Lesnar comes out of also his hibernation around this time of year. So I think Lesnar will show up at Extreme Rules, if not Monday Night Raw after. I mean, that's what I really believe is that, Brock's going to come out, F5 Drew McIntyre, maybe after he beats Ziggler, and, we get a clear setup and path to SummerSlam for a rematch. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a possibility there's a triple threat, or is McIntyre versus Lesnar really the only option for SummerSlam?
I kind of think they may go a different route. I kind of think they may end up going Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam.
Ooh.
Just because Edge is going to be out for a while. And even if Edge were able to come back for SummerSlam, I don't think you would want to rush it. I think you kind of want to pace it out and just kind of, with the path that Randy Orton is going on right now, kind of like revisiting that legend killer role, but yet he's been teaming up with younger guys like Andrade and Angel Garza. And I just love what Randy Orton's been doing lately. He's kind of been my favorite part on Raw, just seeing like him interacting and just like how he snapped on Angel. Just took him out like outside of the ring, slammed up against the plexiglass and then against the ropes, and just like had like a few choice words for him, or just like was blunt with him, and called him out on a few things. And it was just like, you could see that Angel was kind of like, was obviously scared, but it was like a respect thing too. So I really like this route that they're going with Randy. And honestly, like, if they're looking to have Drew have that moment in front of fans, let's say, and I guess what could be a perfect world for us right now, let's say towards the end of this year, we can have like a limited capacity, maybe like a few thousand, maybe like even 5,000 fans in like an outdoor arena type thing. Or like, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done like, try to do like an outside show, like at a beach or something, or like rent like a huge, like just a huge land of just like open space and just like do it up. Like, I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried to do that, or maybe they are looking into it now that, different states are in different phases. You can have different amounts of people now, especially outdoors. So I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done that, especially for SummerSlam, right? Like, you do an outdoor theme. But yeah, so I kind of think that they may go a Randy Orton route, and just to kind of play up on that. And it wouldn't surprise me if they have Randy Orton beat Drew, and then with the hope in the back of the mind that they can repay us and we can have that moment with Drew beating Randy Orton if he's still the champion at that point and regaining the championship. But this time it is in front of fans, and we do get to actually celebrate with him in person for that moment. So that could be a route if they're hopeful that they can actually get actual fans, like paying fans back in attendance.
That would interest me
soon.
Infinitely more than Lesnar versus McIntyre Part 2. Not that I don't enjoy Lesnar, and that's the whole mystique about Lesnar. He's not there a lot. We get it. But we kind of know what match we're going to get. It's just a whole bunch of like, it's like playing a WWE 2K20 video game, and you start with like, 4 finishers. It's just, it's just going to be power move, finish, kick out, finish, and then you finally, you already know what match and style you're getting. And the story is very kind of cut and dry. I beat you at WrestleMania. I'm coming back for revenge. And it's going to be, 5 minutes or less. We all know the formula now. That's just what it's going to be. But it's so much deeper with Randy Orton. As you mentioned, he has been the absolute star of the company. I don't think there's anybody that even touches him right now in terms of just his ability, his performances over the last few months. We had some great matches from AJ Styles, and the whole tournament was great, and now Bayley and Sasha are dominating the women's division. But Randy Orton's in a stratosphere of his own right now, and he is like, I don't know if I've seen a better version of Randy, because we saw the Legend Killer when he was younger, but you take all that age and experience and you add it now to him at 40 some years old, and he understands every part of himself as a character. He knows how to anger you. He just gets it. And the part with Angel Garza, if you listen, like, he actually said the F word, and they blanked it out, obviously, because it was pre-taped. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, wait, what? Like, I have not seen that on WWE TV, maybe in the entire PG era. That was just a small thing, but I was like, whoa. You genuinely felt scared for Angel Garza. Randy is on another level right now. And when you think about this, Randy Orton has not lost in a wrestling ring in months, right? Like, yes, he lost at WrestleMania in what was a extremely long, just, I don't want to say disappointing. They did with the best they could, but from what we all wanted to see to what happened, it was disappointing in that aspect. But they did the best they freaking could. But it wasn't in the middle of the ring where Randy Orton has gotten pinned. He didn't lose inside the ring, obviously, against Edge at Backlash when it was the greatest wrestling match ever. Randy Orton has not lost inside of a ring in a very long time, and now we have Big Show as kind of a stopgap. Obviously, he's not a destination. He's a stepping stone for Randy Orton to get to. Maybe it is Drew McIntyre. I hope it is. But I think Big Show is going to end up getting punted and laid out at Extreme Rules via maybe a low blow from Ric Flair, which I love how he's implementing that now. I love Ric Flair's back. Hopefully he doesn't take any bumps. I don't want Rick at 70-some years old taking any bumps. I really don't. No. But if he's just going to be there to cut promos, talk trash, and hit low blows for Randy, hell yeah. I mean, that's fine with me. And not having Big Show even be able to get a single offensive maneuver on Randy Orton on Monday night was awesome. Like, Randy Orton he's just continuing to build heat and build heat and build heat to the point I'm sitting here getting angry as a fan that I haven't felt in a long time of like, somebody please put him down. And he just avoids it and slithers away. And he is just getting it. The booking, the creative gets it with Randy. And if he becomes champion, I would be totally fine with him beating Drew McIntyre simply because of how damn good he is, how damn good he would be as champion, how angering the fans would get, and having Edge be the one to take it off of him. Or, like you said, maybe it is Drew who takes it off of him in front of fans. But with the timing of Edge's injury and how long Randy would hold it, it would make sense maybe Edge does. I don't know where Drew would go in all this. Again, we're getting like 4 steps ahead, but this is, again, Randy Orton is damn brilliant right now. And imagine if Edge comes out in the Rumble in front of fans after Orton has cleared the ring. He's just RKOing everybody, and Edge's music hits, and he's the next one out. I mean, I've already kind of booked myself out 4, 5, 6 months, but I don't know. So anyway, Randy Orton's killing it.
Yeah, and you can literally replay last year and do it the right way in front of fans. Like if you go that route. Oh yeah,
whenever I'm feeling down, I just play the clip of Edge returning. Like seriously.
Oh yeah.
Edge returning at number 21 this year. It's one of those goosebump feeling type of moments. It does not happen often. It's like once every few years that something like this happens where it's just like, oh my God. And you get that goosebump feeling of like, this is why I love wrestling. That. But anyway, yeah, so Big Show doesn't get his hands on Orton. I think he's going to end up punted, and he's the next victim of Randy Orton, and Big Show kind of goes away again too. But anyway, so I already mentioned, well, I didn't mention Asuka. She pinned Bayley on via a roll-up, which, by the way, if you didn't know, is the single most devastating finish in WWE today. The roll-up of which, I'm serious. I mean, like, think about the number of matches, and it continues to happen. It's at least like 2 or 3 matches every show where somebody gets rolled up. Not a super kick, which would be a knockout shot. Not a DDT, which is driving your skull into the mat. Not a finish, which is supposed to, finish the match. It is the dreaded roll-up that has just plagued R-Truth and the 24/7 title, and now is plaguing just regular wrestling matches on all brands. It's just, I don't know. I've ranted about my roll-up, overuse of roll-ups with WWE over the last few months, but anyway, do you notice that too with the roll-ups? Just they do these killer moves. They do all of these things that are ultra athletic and would knock out a normal person, and then all of a sudden they lose via a roll-up. It's like, what?
It's amazing to me because, like you said, like you can do a super kick, you can do anything, like you can do the most devastating move off the top rope, but yet they kick out right at that last second. But if you just roll someone up, if you just get that right momentum, right, because it's about that momentum, that's it, you got the match. It's just, I like the roll up finish when it's appropriate, but it's just so overplayed. Like you said, it's kind of like eye rolling at this point.
It's the new DQ. I remember when WWE was overusing the disqualification. It just shows me really, and again, not to kind of troll WWE here, but I think it's lazy booking. I really do. And I mean that because if you have somebody roll up an opponent Yeah, they got the victory, they got the 1, 2, 3, but you could chalk it up to they got lucky. They got them at the right moment. It's not a true victory of hitting your finish and winning. It's lazy booking by trying to keep people at a certain level where everyone's on the same level and anyone can beat anyone. I don't like that. I don't like thinking anybody could beat anybody, because then no one's above anybody else in the pecking order. That's not how sports work, right? Like when you look at any sport in at least in the United States, everybody's done by ranking. And you have like, again, baseball, because I'm a baseball fan, you have like Red Sox, on top. Say the Yankees are 5 games behind. The Rays are 6 games behind. Like, you have rankings. And to me, if you don't have a vertical system, it doesn't mean as much when you have roll-ups happening, because it's just a fluke victory. But why do that? It's lazy booking. It's like committing to the win without the commitment. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and just real quick, it just kind of takes credibility away from it too, right? It's just like you have, what's the point of even having a finisher at that point? Your finisher should just be the roll up, because you're not going to be able to win by using your finisher, so that should just be it. It's just that and like just the lack of selling lately, and of course, like, who am I to really talk, right? But it's just like when some things are just so obvious, like if you hit like this high impact move and like you just get right back up, like it just little things like that just kind of like, I don't want to say take me out of it, but just kind of like just make me sad a little bit. Just kind of like maybe it does just take me out of it a little bit, but it gives me a weird feeling. I don't know if it's just me or not though.
You're getting me into a rabbit hole that I have gone on like half-hour rants. I'm not going to do that, obviously.
Yeah, but it's just.
I will just say in just a very short summation that the lack of selling, and Edge brought this up too in an interview he did with ESPN, and he mentioned that how he wants to bring back selling, because selling just doesn't exist today. It's more of just registering something happened, but there's no selling. It's about the athleticism, less about the story, which is killing pro wrestling, because then it just becomes, as I called it, a fireworks show where everyone's just interested in the next firework, right? You're always, the next one. And instead of like understanding why they're fighting and doing fewer moves that mean more, and you're able to understand what's happening, it's become an athletic spot fest where it's who can do the coolest move and the coolest reversal, and we have to do our obligatory 20 suicide dives every show, and super kicks. It's the new clothesline. I mean, without selling, why bother? Like, because without selling, you can't tell a story. You can't feel emotion for a match. It's just kind of like very superficial. You're just watching a match to see cool moves, rather than seeing a match to care about the outcome and care about the struggle of your babyface to get through that match and beat the heel. It's sped up too fast. The athleticism is out off the charts, and no doubt, but it's come at the expense of selling, which is the soul of pro wrestling. So that's my very short rant.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's just I'll make a whole show about this, because it's,
I know.
Damn, it's just prevalent. It's not just WWE. I mean, this is all promotions. It's like a disease that has spread. I mean, I still love pro wrestling, but it's I don't know. Anyway, speaking of Great American Bash, now, full disclosure, I did not watch both pay-per-views in full. I saw highlights. I simply do not have the time to consume both of these pay-per-views or shows. That's why I have hosts who cover both of these. But what do you think about, number one, Keith Lee winning, double champion? Did you see that coming?
If you would have asked me like 3 weeks ago, no. But once we got a clear picture of it was going to be Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, I had a weird feeling that Keith Lee was going to win. Like, I had a weird feeling, like, just with them going and being head-to-head with AEW, I felt like they were going to have that moment for Keith Lee. And it was well done. It was so well done. Like, the match itself was what it should have been. And I'm so excited to see what they end up doing with Keith Lee going forward. If he's going to continue to be like a fighting dual champion, or if they're going to have a tournament, which I hope they don't, for the North American title. I want him to go forward and defend them, individually. Kind of like Seth Rollins, as we've seen, multiple champions do in the past who have held multiple titles. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Keith Lee, and then because of course you have Karrion Kross just hanging out right there, and then you can have Ciampa come back at any time. So there's a lot that you can do there. And then it leaves the question of what do you do with Adam Cole going forward in Undisputed Era? Do they all stay on NXT? Do they move to Raw or SmackDown? Does Adam Cole move by himself and the others stay? Do they turn what do you do? So. Because we haven't seen Adam Cole without Adam Cole not being a champion in so long. So it's interesting to see what they do with him going forward as well, and who is going to be the main focal point going forward for Keith Lee.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Adam Cole, obviously they had made him a pretty big deal when we had the whole Survivor Series angle that everyone's just suddenly loyal to their brand, and all their rivalries go out the window because we're just loyal to our brand because the calendar says so. They made him feel like a pretty damn big deal with NXT invading. And to me, I would probably, if I was a betting man, say that it's a signal and a sign that Adam Cole is probably coming up sooner than later. Now, could they have a rematch? Maybe. But I think that Adam Cole is... As much as I enjoy him on NXT, I think that WWE, Vince would probably say we need him right now on the main roster because of the lack of star power. I think that he'd be a new fresh face, especially if you don't watch NXT. You would be like, hey, who's this? Somebody new. And he's obviously very good in the ring, good on the mic. So, I don't know, that's my thought. But what do you think about the rest of the pay-per-view? I don't want to go match by match here, but just the rest of the pay-per-view for NXT.
It was good. It was a really good show. I enjoyed, I think, night 2 more than night 1. It was a very solid show. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with just the women's division going forward, and Io Shirai, and how strong of a champion they build her as going forward, and if Sasha comes back down, and if they end up doing anything else with that, or if they just kind of leave that alone for now. So I'm curious to see what they end up doing going forward, just with everything. And then Karrion Kross, I'm super excited to see how they book him, and if he's going to go right after Keith Lee or not. Who do you see as Keith Lee's first opponent, though? Really quick before we move on, do you have any idea?
Honestly, to be totally frank, I haven't been paying enough close attention to make an educated guess. So I'll go with whatever you say because I really don't. I don't watch close enough to know.
I feel you. No, dude, I feel you. I would say Karrion Kross maybe, but I have no idea. I have no idea. We'll see.
What about Fyter Fest? Did you enjoy Orange Cassidy versus Jericho? I know it's the main event. Obviously, I'm jumping to the main event, but how did you enjoy the pay-per-view as a whole, and specifically that match?
Yeah, as a whole, I did. I think maybe not as much as I thought I was going to, but I wasn't bored, right? It was still an entertaining show, and AEW always puts on a good show. You're never just like bored and just sitting there watching a clock. It's always a good show. Just some shows are better than others. But I think this was one of them. I don't think they were as strong as maybe some of the other shows have been, but I did enjoy it as a whole. And I think that Orange Cassidy, it was probably one of his best matches that he's had, in my opinion. It was pretty entertaining. I think obviously Jericho should have won, and I'm obviously glad he did. So I'm curious to see what they end up doing with Jericho going forward, if he's going to maybe hang out on commentary, and just to see what they do with both of them, actually, and see if Cassidy continues as a serious character going forward.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of footage from Orange Cassidy versus Jericho, and I mean, this guy, again, I don't follow AEW as closely as I would love to. It's not that I'm just loyal to WWE only. You don't have to just pick one. I love all pro wrestling. I don't discriminate. But from what I've seen, like Orange Cassidy, and I've seen clips of him, I've been reading what's going on. Orange Cassidy is just, he is right now probably, if not the hottest commodity that AEW has. I mean, in terms of baby faces. And Jericho, I think, led him through that match, from what I saw, very well. I mean, Jericho's a pro's pro, and having Jericho can retain, obviously, as you said, I think that was a right move as well. Jericho is your lead heel. He's doing a hell of a job in the heel role. and you have Orange Cassidy kind of on the other side representing that character that is just so unique. Hands in the pockets, doing all these crazy moves. And man, I mean, I've seen him do some stuff that with his hands in his pockets, and I'm like, how are you, like, you are really risking
unreal.
injury, man. Like, you're not being able to protect yourself, and all in the name of, trying to be the cool, freshly squeezed. Yeah, I get it, but man, I don't know. So, I don't know. What do you think about the rest of the pay-per-view? Kind of the same question from Great American Bash. Did you enjoy the rest of the show?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed the 4-way tag team match that they had. I'm really curious to see what they end up doing with FTR and the Young Bucks going forward. Because the thing, obviously, it's pretty. Well, I think it should be obvious that it's heading towards a match at All Out in September, no matter where it's at. But I think that should be their main focus going forward, at least with those two teams. And it's just going to be interesting to see how they get to that match going forward, to see how much FTR calls the Young Bucks out for certain things that they do, or just not maybe following the rules, because they have been mentioning that in like some interviews that they've been doing lately. So it's just curious to see what they're going to do with that going forward, and just how much they play that up, or what they end up doing, because I really enjoyed FTR as a tag team. So I'm just happy that they're there, and you can tell that they enjoy what they do too. So it just makes a big difference.
No, definitely. And who's that heel on AEW? I'm trying to think of his name. The one who hasn't lost yet. What's his name?
MJF?
MJF, yeah. You talk about, to me, again, I have not watched every single show. I am catching highlights and reading stuff. But you talk about a guy that is just got his heel rolled down and just looks like a total jerk and is unbeaten. Right now, at least in my mind, MJF has a really bright future as a heel. I mean, he gets it. Do you have like true heel heat for MJF? Like, how do you feel about MJF? Okay. Oh
yeah, I mean, of course I respect him, right? Because it takes a certain skill to do what you do, right? And to at a certain level. But I do not like him. Like, I would not buy his T-shirt just because like I have respect for him. Like, I do not support him. Like I am happy to cheer against that guy. So yeah, no, he does his job very well.
He's not the cool heel. And I saw a picture of him like flipping off a kid at a signing or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
great. He's all in. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, that is old school heat. That is stuff like people legitimately dislike him.
And he's so young.
Yeah, that's what's great is he gets it, and oh man, that is stuff that happened back in the like 70s and 80s where, people would legitimately hate characters. They throw stuff in the ring. Kayfabe was a real big thing. It was not broken. MJF is kind of the same way. Like, he is truly a heel's heel. He's not the cool heel that, I can't wait till he turns babyface, but I'm going to cheer him now because he's so damn cool. No, that's not MJF. That's what I love. He's throwing it back. So, all right. Well, I think we've covered everything. Unless there's anything else that we didn't, I've scribbled out all my notes here. Do you have anything? Yeah.
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Well, Ashley, before you go, and I'm jealous you can tell me what your Twitter is because I don't know what that is anymore. But let everyone know what your Twitter is or any other social media you want to share if people want to get in touch.
Yeah, feel free to follow me on Twitter at ASHMANNS. I haven't been on as of much lately, but I hope to get back into that crazy Twitter world, and hopefully you can too at some point, Matt.
You know what? Again, it's been almost 2 months. It's funny.
So weird.
The day I got banned was May 19th. And if we're a wrestling fan, you know what May 19th is. So I don't know if Kane has something to do with this.
No evil.
So maybe I need to get in touch with the mayor of Knox County because I don't know what the hell. I told this to somebody on the show a week ago or 2 weeks ago. The only thing I can think of, because Twitter has actually a ton of rules people don't even understand or realize. Like, there's a ton of rules for Twitter. And one of the things was when I first got my account 8-9 years ago, what I would do to get a bunch of followers is just follow a bunch of people, right? Because that's the best way to get followers. You follow a bunch of people, then you unfollow them, or you unfollow the people that don't follow you. That's called churning. It's like follower churn.
Yeah.
So I think that the system finally caught up with me after the first couple of years where I did that. I haven't done that in the last couple of years, but I think that their systems finally caught up to my username and was like, hey, wait a minute. Like, let's look at all these things you did, even though it was many years ago. So that's the only thing I could think of. So, because every time I contact them, they say, your account has been suspended and will remain suspended and then they give me generic violations, which is like a whole category. I'm like, well, it's bizarre. So I just keep trying to appeal. Eventually someone's going to come on and go, nah, maybe he's learned his lesson. I don't know, but it's like super annoying. So, and I've tried to
just get tired of you appealing, you know?
Yeah, maybe they're just like, oh my God, just okay here. You know, I don't know, but it's super hard. I've even tried to create a second account and they banned my second account under a different phone number. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, they're like really on top of me. And then my Facebook goes up in flames. I don't know what the hell's going on. So this is getting crazy. But anyway, so those of you that have Twitter, yeah, I trust me, I wish I could be on there. But all right. Well, Ashley, thank you again for joining us. It's glad to have you back. I'm sure the listeners are glad to have you back. We'll do this again. Well, really, whenever your schedule allows. I know everybody's got things that are going, I'm working, they're not working, schedules are here, people are working from home, then they're not. So we'll, I would say 3 weeks, but maybe it's sooner, maybe it's later. We'll just kind of play it by ear.
Yeah, definitely sounds good.
All right, Ashley, thanks for coming on and enjoy your night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.